Hey guys, welcome to episode 295 of 4PlayerAnimecast. This is the 2nd of May, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over in the East Coast of the United States. Except I'm not in the United States anymore, but I can still tell the time because of my old laptop. But anyways, I am your host, Spire, and with me are my, unfortunately, two compatriots today, Near,
So
Dark.
Kind of a fucked up way to put that, but all right, man.
yeah, he hates our asses.
Unfortunately, only.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
unfortunately, these two.
Yeah, the ones I hate the most. And Toast is out because he is sick today, so he will not be here. But I'm sure we'll be able to go through some of the series we have on hand today. We managed to kind of divvy up the series, and we have some of the ones that we thought were going to be pretty good during the preview. So we'll go through them. But before we do that, let's just go over our 2 weeks, starting with Near. 2 weeks, pretty quickly, please.
My 2 weeks have been pretty cringe. So
How come?
my headset is broken.
What? What?
Yeah,
Why?
my headband snapped and is currently being held together with tape. So that's cool.
Did
So
it did it like
Yeah, I've been there.
what did you accidentally step on it or like what happened?
no, it's just old. It's old and it
Oh,
snapped.
okay.
But yeah, so I've had to spend a bunch of money, um, looking around for headphones, and I ended up saying, fuck it. I'm not gonna buy like headsets anymore, and I'm gonna go with
Yeah, just have
like a
Oh,
do
just
mic
like
like
plus.
earbuds.
yeah, just like a desk mic, and then like a proper like earphones and stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's honestly the most convenient combo in my opinion.
Yeah.
yeah, I managed to find some Audio Technica headphones for pretty cheap, and an Audio Technica
Nice.
mic that was pretty cheap as well. So I have to wait
Mhm.
for those to come in, and then I have to set those up, which I'm sure is gonna be a pain in the ass. But hopefully it'll be a
Didn't
more
buy $5,000 studio headphones just to
no.
play video
Just to plug
games
them,
with.
Pop,
yeah,
get
just
a
to
pop
plug them
filter,
straight
get
into
like a
my,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, straight
yeah,
into your
Set up your room to be
your computer
soundproof or like
soundboard,
to be sound
yeah,
absorbent.
your Dolby
but
sound card.
yeah, um, but yeah, that's been annoying just because I hate spending money. I don't like spending money. It's one of my least favorite things to do. So, you know,
We're all gonna be doing more and more of it as soon as all these, things in society and politics progress. So
yeah, yeah,
just,
I'm looking forward
do
to it. But yeah, other than that, keeping up with shit, um, mahjong, gotcha shit, um. Zenless has been popping off, for better or for worse, with the season 3 announcement. So that's been wild. It's been a wild ride. Some people hate it. Um, not that many people are too positive on it. Um,
Mhm.
so we'll see how that turns out. I mean, I'm sure they'll respond to the feedback with the Chinese um, being as rowdy as they are right now. But yeah, other than that, not too much. Um, you know, did keep up. I have been keeping up with what was it, Akane Banashi? That one's still pretty good.
Mm.
But other than that, I watch my show, believe it or not. Um,
I'm glad.
yeah, and yeah. Other than that, I've mostly just been chilling, to be honest. But yeah,
Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you very much, Near. What about you, Dark?
Yeah, my 2 weeks have been relatively uneventful. Just kind of been keeping up with stuff, been watching things. Um, primarily got into, I mean, I've been keeping up with what do you call it, gotcha stuff as well. Yeah, Zenless has been
Which
very
gotcha?
fun. Yeah, Zenless has been fun. The events in that have been really good. Arc Knights has been really, really fun. I got insane luck with that and got the current limited character off of the free rolls that they give somehow. So now I gotta get her
Nice.
weapon at some point. Yes. I wasn't even trying for her, but got her, so not bad. And then other than that, was it Nikkei? Nikkei's anniversary has been cool. We finally got like super high tier units for Anis and Neon, so that's nice. Always been like favorite of the three, especially. So that's cool, and I got them. And then other than that, I've been playing Neverness to Everness, which like I'm just playing it just because, but it's literally like the gotcha equivalent of like, man, always playing some bullshit, huh? It's kind of like a really, it has moments of like decent amounts of soul or ideas, but then that's also flanked by like what people are saying is AI, some AI assets, but I don't know if that's true because every time they point to it, it like this could be like a trace, if anything. It's not like it has like
Not much better.
artifacting. I know it's not better. Well, the trace would have been just a reference to a shot from what is it, like Weathering with You or whatever, that movie.
Your
But
name.
then like the other shit,
But yeah.
some of the other shit was like, oh, these like anime character standees are also AI. And then someone's like, why are their eyes so misshapen? And I was looking at it, I'm like, I literally don't see any of that because it's not even high res enough to really like notice that. But okay. But it's entirely possible. But yeah, I mean, like gameplay wise, like the gameplay is very, very fun. I will say that. It has some like decent ideas mechanically that I do think other games could copy. I think the city stuff is very fun. And yeah, I mean, that's why it's just like I'm not really paying that much attention. I think the biggest downside to the game is the mascot is like horrendously bad. Like this TV screen head guy, and he is not charming at all. Like he's purely annoying. And not even like particularly for any like super big reason. It's just a very annoying gimmick, and he doesn't look particularly cool. And they introduce him as if you already like him, and it's like, well, I don't like him at all, as a matter of fact. So there's that. But yeah, other than that, the game is fun. I think its best mechanic, I was telling you earlier, is that when you get a constellation like duplicate of a character, for the limited or S rank characters at least, it lets you just choose which of the 6 buffs you want to have, and then you can just freely switch that whenever you want. So like if you had one, so like I have one slot because I for some reason in this game I have some of my best luck in gotchas ever, because of course I would. I can choose any of the basically like dupe constellation buffs, and I can swap them whenever I want. And so like you can kind of get to make a choice. It's like, oh, do you want your character's skill buff to last longer, or do you want her to get like a different proc mechanic thing? And so there's like different reasons to choose it. And so it's like when you're not maxed out on them, you can kind of still make use of some of the like stronger combinations and stuff if you're not, even if you're not like maxing out a character, which I think was really nice. I think that's really, really cool. And I'd like to see other games do that. I think that I'd also, last thing I'll end it with is I would also like to see other games, launch characters with like 3 costumes, because pretty much well, no, not every, but most of the characters in this game have several costumes, one of which is free for like hanging out with them. So like, more games should do that too. Specifically, Hoyoverse games like Zenless, so that we get more than like one costume every 3 months. I think that would be neat. But yeah. Other than that, just kept up with shows, kept up with anime. There's a lot of good stuff this season. Obviously watch my show. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark. As for me, I haven't been doing too much on the anime side because I have been running around, not being in the United States. I am currently in South Korea, and I am speaking to everybody here at 11 a.m. in the morning on Sunday, which is an okay time. It's not like I'm dozing off sleep or something like that, but it is quite a time difference, and I'm having to run around and do some stuff. So I've been a little busy, so I haven't been able to do much except you know watch stuff, play Horse Girls, watch my series, watch a little bit of Akaramarashi, uh, and that's really about it. But
I like,
again,
I like it.
I'll yeah, I do like it.
I think it's
Um,
pretty good.
my only regret is that I kind of wanted again to I never finished watching Rakugo Shinju, and I
Yeah,
kind of I want to go back to it and finish it so I can again have a little bit more of like a back and forth comparison between the two as well, to set up my baseline. But
kind of a good show too.
yeah, it is.
I'm pretty
It
sure I gave that
did
anime
it
of the year,
win
didn't I?
anime of the year? Yeah,
I think I
exactly,
gave that anime
exactly.
of the year.
Yeah, it's a good series. It's just again, unfortunately, I didn't manage to finish it, but I'll probably go back to that after this one, to be honest. But that's pretty much all I had. But I guess with that, we'll start off on our first series. So first off the list here, I'm going to head it off, and it'll be a series called My Ribdiculous Reincarnation. So that's spelled Ribdiculous, and the name is Megami. Isekai Tensei Nani ni naritai desu ka? Ore, Yuusha no Rokkotsu, also known as the Rib anime, because it's literally called Rokkotsu anime in Japan. So this was originally a Japanese web novel series. The author is named, his nickname is Antai, and it's a Naroke series published on Shoutouts ni Naro, and later on made an adaptation, and then it became an anime series. So it is kind of like this weird isekai variant. There's like a lot of isekai lamp shading, but it's a little bit more comedic series, which I'll talk about later. There's a couple of studios throwing around the production and direction of the anime, but I would say the bulk of it goes to SOK Studios, which they've done one other series called Shinsei Gatoverse, which is I think
Wow.
some sort of weird
Nick,
action series, but then they land on like a planet with Gato or something like that. It's weird. I've not seen the series, but the premise does not look promising, I will say. But this is their only other series that they've actually done animation production on. So a little bit of interesting times. For this series, they've tapped on Yasufumi Soejima. Uh, yeah, Soejima Yasufumi, who has done a lot of storyboarding and unit direction, but other than I want to say one small short series, I think he hasn't done a full anime. Uh, he hasn't been a director for a full anime, so this is his first full directorial debut for a full anime series. So for this, he has gathered some of his connections from his core team is mostly from Ensemble Stars, the male 2D idol series, and a couple of places elsewhere to kind of form his project team. Most of them are pretty prolific, I would say. So it's a pretty solid team overall. The voice acting cast is pretty much a who's who list of like very prolific seiyuu, except for maybe one. You have Atsiabe, or yeah, you have Abe Atsushi as the main character. You have Namikawa Daisuke as one of the supporting. So the thing about this series is also you have two real characters that have like a lot of lines. So you'll have again Abeatsu doing the protagonist and Mao doing the goddess that kind of like talks to him and like sends it to different worlds and stuff like that. But everybody else is just getting like weird like little one-off supporting roles that last like one episode. Yeah, pretty much just like one episode where they're just depicting like characters in that specific world that the protagonist gets isekai to. So you'll have Namikawa Daisuke, you'll have Hayami Sho, Seki Toshiro, Kawasumi Ayako, Taketatsu Ayana, Murasaemu, uh, Asumi Kana, so on. So again, a lot of these people are very prolific, very you know, famous seiyuu on their own rights, but they don't get that many lines throughout the entire series, I think. Going on to the opening ending, the opening is Tensei Ganbo by Shukatsu Club. So Shukatsu Club is a 5-man Japanese band based in Niigata. I would say the composition, obviously their vocals are fine, but the composition is a little bit uninspiring. But they do have this very surreal storyboarding that's similar to what they use in the anime, obviously, and kind of use the same art style. And it's decently fun to watch, although it can get a little bit weird. Well, I don't know whether I will describe it as weird, but it looks more like a weird niche short series, an opening for like a weird niche short series, than it does for a full series. So that's sort of the feel I get from it. But it is like very surreal. The ending is called Nan Nan Desu ka by Sham. So Sham is just like a music project based upon this younger singer Leah, not Leah of that and song fame, but another Leah. And this has like pretty standard J-pop vocals, female vocals and composition. I would say the bridge is okay, but everything else is again a little bit uninspired. It's a little bit more energetic though than the average J-pop ending, so it does get plus points for me on that. For this, I would say the storyboard is also pretty whatever. It's like the same set of just like characters popping up here and there, and not much else. And the overall OST is pretty nondescript as well. I didn't find any specific tracks or anything like that where I was like, oh, this specific BGM is like pretty cool. But you know, it's par for the course for a lot of these anime. In terms of the visuals, I think so. Again, with like the budget that they had, the visuals are quite interesting. What happens is that the main two characters who have decent static models, but don't really get animated that much because in most of the story, in most of the episodes, they're just talking to each other all the time. They're just sitting down, and the main character is just talking to the goddess about the adventures that he had in another world. So there's not like a lot of action that they have to fill out. So that works fine for them. Most of the other stuff is sorts of these like weird, varied animation styles depicting a lot of these surreal scenes in different isekai worlds. So like sometimes you'll have say claymation like CGI. Sometimes you'll have lineless 2D visuals. Sometimes you'll have these like weird Rick and Morty style, very cartoonish designs. And while it's not full on Ufotable or Studio Orange with regards to, you know, having the Sakuga frames and all that, and there are some parts of it where I would say it does look slightly budget. I do like the more creative aspect of it. So I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't hate on the visuals too much, is what I'm saying. So I do give it a little bit of a thumbs up on that. Going on over to the story. So the story is just about how the protagonist dies while living his life in Japan or doing some stupid stuff in Japan. He finds himself reincarnated. And he finds himself in this sort of like, I want to say nebulous multiverse area, or where a goddess is telling him, hey, you can get reincarnated to another world or as a certain character in another world, but depending on how popular it is, you might have to wait 50,000 years. Like if you want to be a dashing hero with all these powers with a harem in another world, you have to wait 55,000 years. Or if you want to be a demon king, you have to wait 24,000 years or whatever. So because he doesn't want to do that, he starts just being like, hey, I'll just reincarnate as like a hero's rib or something like that. Or there's a sort of isekai gacha that the goddess makes him pull because he runs out of wacky ideas to use. And then he pulls a gacha and he ends up becoming, say, a hermit crab or something like that. And each episode is him being reincarnated into a different being, living that life in that another world, and then dying and then coming back to the goddess and telling the goddess what his adventures in another world was while being that weird thing like a rib or a hermit crab. So because he is because in that other world he is that weird thing. He is the rib within a hero, or he is a hermit crab. Very weird things happen to him. And so it's this so story is part of it is the protagonist telling this very surreal story of what happened to him in the isekai world, and the other part is obviously sort of this manzai comedy, this banter based manzai comedy happening between the protagonist who's just like, yeah, this wacky thing that happened in another world, and the goddess just being the tsukomi, right, and saying, why did that happen? Like why is that happening in that world? So that's sort of the main thing. Again, it's very episodic. Each episode, again, is one word is the protagonist telling the stories of that world, and then the god is kind of rebutting, is just kind of being doing the manzai, doing the tsukomi, just retorting, being like, "Yeah, that sounds very stupid." So the general flow of the story that the protagonist tells in the Isekai world is interesting, I would say. Again, it is very surreal and it's hard to digest surreal stuff at times, where you'll have, spoiler alert, you'll have stuff such as heroes growing out of, so the protagonist as the rib of a hero kind of speaks out loud by accident, and the hero hears it. He's like, I need to get rid of whatever the heck is speaking inside of me. And he rips out his ribs and throws it away. But he starts throwing away the wrong rib by accident. And then that rib grows into another hero. And then the heroes start having another fight. And then the hero rips out more ribs. And then those ribs also turn into other heroes. And it's just like, it becomes this very weird thing where um, one of the heroes rips out or uses the ribs of the other hero to create infinitely more heroes and then start essentially ruling over the world. And uh, it's a very, I don't know what the author is smoking, but it's not bad per se, but it is very weird. It is a very weird thing to digest while watching it. In terms of the overall kind of manzai comedy, the bokeh kind of the protagonist just being like, yeah, this weird thing happened, being the bokeh, and then the goddess being like, that is weird. I don't know why that happened. Like the goddess will obviously say, yeah, I don't like what why did the extra heroes spawn out of the rib? That's weird. So the goddess saying like stuff like that, that's Komi. I would say the bokeh part, the surreal part, is okay, but the goddess is a kudere. It's specifically the whole like even tone, the low tone, the quiet kudere act, but she's saying tsukomi lines right while being the kudere. And I would say having the goddess tsukomi as a kudere for 3 or 4 episodes now, but obviously it'll be 12 episodes. It does get a little bit old, even after just one, maybe 2 episodes. I would say it gets pretty old because I think the reason for that is A, there are so many skomies that need to happen per second or per minute, just because the story is so weird. It's so surreal. It's like, for instance, episode 2, you have Hermit Crab, and then the Hermit Crab goes on to do all these isekai things, and usually isekai stuff involves heroes and monsters. So you have a Hermit Crab running around flirting with heroes and monsters, and the goddess every minute has to be like, yeah, why is a Hermit Crab in that situation, right? So because the goddess has to do so many skomis, because it starts becoming just like this quiet running commentary, and it loses a lot of this comedic vibe that the skomi has to do, right? The skomi has to be like, hey, that's not how it is. It kind of has to like react in a big manner, in a big kind of exaggerated manner, right? But because it's just so quiet, because the goddess is a kudere, and the goddess constantly has to do it, and it becomes this running commentary, and because it's that like quiet nature, it just becomes flat commentary. It doesn't become comedy anymore, and it kind of makes it not very fun. So I think that's a big weakness of this series, but I do like the surreal some of like the surreal nature of these isekai stories. I just think that the I feel like if the goddess was just a big, loud tsundere character that just reacted very loudly to the weird things happening in Isekai series, I think it would have been much funnier and much cuter. But I'm not a big fan of using a kudere tsukomi for 12 episodes on end, especially when again, the goddess has to tsukomi everything every 30 seconds. So it's a little bit unfortunate. Other than that, there's not much to say. Again, it's just like the same format happening over and over again. Again, I do like the weird stories that the author kind of smoked up. It got kind of smoked a little bit of, you know what, and then made up. And obviously, a lot of these the lampshade slash make fun of the various isekai tropes that you find on Shousetsuka ni Naro. People having, for instance, heroes having all the girls, the protagonist or whoever getting cursed weapons or having huge, incredible powers for whatever reason. So there's a lot of lampshading with standard fantasy and isekai tropes. But while I do like some of the surreal parts of the stories, the Manzai comedy aspect is not appreciated, I would say. But that's pretty much all I have to say about my Ribdiculous Adventures or Rokkotsu, because there's really not much else other than that sort of structure. In terms of the Mal rating, I would say I'd give it an exact 5 because I don't hate it. I think there are some valuable parts of it, but I just don't think it goes beyond somewhat middling, because there are other parts of it where it's just like, ugh, why is this here? Or not why is this here, but this could definitely receive a glow up. This part of it definitely could have done a little bit better. Again, especially the goddess part, and it just kind of makes the series drag on when you read those lines. But the overall structure I didn't mind, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10. But yeah, that's pretty much my very short review of my ridiculous adventures. My ridiculous reincarnation. I keep reading it as my ridiculous adventures, but my ridiculous reincarnation, also known as Megami. Isekai Tensei Nani ni Naritai desu ka? Ore, Yuusha no Rokkotsu de. Also known as the Rokkotsu anime. And again, this was originally a Shousetsu Kanidaro series, web novel series, adapted into light novel, then into the anime by headed by SOK Studio and a couple of other studios as well. And yeah, again, I think if you want to dip into it to see what it's like, sure. But would I recommend watching 12 episodes of it? I'm not sure if I would do that. So that's pretty much my review of it.
Honestly, it's better than I thought it would be for you. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of really was expecting you to just be like, nah, it's just like not even worth anything. But that's kind of nice to hear.
I think
That
it
has at least like
dragged
some
for
ridiculous.
sure. But I think the stories that they tell is not the stories that they tell in each episode of what happens in the Isekai are not terrible. I just wish the goddess was just some other sort of character. That's all. I think that would improve it by definitely at least half a point or point in my book. But yeah. All right. So that was my review of Rokkotsu. And next up is Nier. What do you have for us?
Dog shit.
Oh, dang.
What?
Trash. I got
Wait,
trash.
No,
is,
utter. I think you mean utter woke nonsense.
Utter woke nonsense. True.
utter woke nonsense,
True. Yeah, so I watched Witch Hat Atelier, also known as Tongari Boushi no Atelier.
Uh-huh.
This is a manga original by Bug Films. Bug Films previously did Zom 100. So they're a
Oh, wow.
Was
relatively.
Bug
Okay.
Films like a new studio or were they a spin-off of something else?
I think they're a spin-off.
Or-
Yeah. So they're the studio by former OLM members.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's not bad either. Yeah.
No, I mean
Yeah.
OLM's not bad, but
Yeah.
also like that, even that is still kind of insane for what
Yeah.
Nier is about to get into.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
So they're a relatively new studio. Zom 100 is kind of like their only other main production.
But it was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and they managed to snag this, which is, like I said, manga original. It's been out for a while. It's one of the big ones. And yeah, they managed to snag this somehow, and I think they did a pretty good job with it.
It's the manga original? This manga
Yeah,
original, right?
yeah. I have
Yes.
read
Okay.
a decent amount of the manga. Back
Oh,
when it was
nice,
first
nice,
coming out.
nice.
I haven't like kept up with it.
Mhm.
But I did read a decent amount. And the main kind of idea is um, the main character, Coco, she wants to be a witch. And in this world, is like witches are like the only people that can use magic. And
Mhm.
she thinks magic is super cool and awesome and badass and epic. And one day, uh, as a wee child, she comes across a witch, and he sells her a book, basically like full of magic and bullshit, right? And um, the way the world is set up with this, there's a lot of world building in this, and a lot of it is like magic systems and the way that like the witch kind of like society is structured and stuff like that. Um, but the way that the world sees it is basically if you're not born with magical abilities, you can't use magic, right? Um,
Mhm.
but the reality is that anybody can use magic. It's just that the method to use magic is kept secret by witches um, because of the fact that anybody can use magic is uh, that mankind does what mankind does best whenever they have the ability to do anything. They use it to fucking kill each other. And so it was kind of agreed upon, I guess, between like either the kingdom or some sort of secret society or whatever, that only a select few would be able to use magic. And then they would wipe the memory of basically all of humanity as to like how to cast magic, and then it would be kept
Mhm.
secret from then on. And so Coco wants to be a witch, and she's got this book, um, and she doesn't know how like to use it basically. But one day, a witch named Kifri comes along to her village, and she ends up sort of seeing how the sausage is made, basically, and that the
Mm.
way that magic in this world is cast is like through drawn kind of like sigil. And as soon as the
What do you mean by
sigil
that?
is completed, it's like a circle with certain runes or stuff
You have
like
to like
that.
spend time drawing it, or is it like it's
Yes,
Yeah,
just incantation kind of stuff? Okay.
yeah, yeah. You actually
but
have to physically draw it
you
out.
can stop you can stop connecting the circle to like not immediately cast the
Yeah,
spell.
yeah. So the
Are they
spell is
like
only
when they draw it? Is it like building Fortnite buildings like super fast or no?
No.
not really, no. So
Okay,
the
so they actually have to take time building it.
Oh,
yeah,
also
so the way it
importantly, I don't know if you
works,
were going to mention it, they also do need a specific ink though too, like a magic ink.
yeah, yeah, it's like a special ink. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's sort of set up in a way where it's like the sigil in the middle is kind of like the element the magic spell is, and then there's runes around the sigil in the middle that sort of direct it or channel it in a certain uh, manner, whether it's like an orb or some sort of uh, beam or something that can just kind of statically be manipulated, something like that. And then around that is a circle, and as soon as the circle around it is completed, then the spell is cast. And obviously, smaller uh, smaller drawings are going to be weaker spells, more like contained, and then the bigger the sigil is, the more powerful the spell is, right? Um,
Hmm.
but Coco ends up seeing this, and one night in her room, um, she uses this book that she's had for years, and this quote unquote wand that came with it, which she discovers just so happens to be a pen, um, that has this special ink, like kind of bundled in with it, basically, right? Um, and she starts drawing shit, willy nilly, and she's having fun, and then she ends up tracing a sigil from the book, and this ends up casting some sort of forbidden magic that ends up encasing both her home and her mother in this magic stone. Basically, it's like a big crystal. Um,
Hmm.
and Keyfree saves her and basically decides that instead of what normally, I guess, a witch does when something like this happens, is they just wipe the memory and they say, "All right, on your way you go. Your mom's dead. See you later." Um, Instead of that, Coco kind of pleads with him and says, uh, I want to save her, basically, right? Like I want to learn magic and save her. Um, and so he takes her under his wing, and she becomes a witch, and then that's the
Well,
series.
also
Goes from there, and
importantly too is that he realizes that she's his like best lead to find
yeah,
whoever is
yeah, yeah,
giving out the forbidden magic books.
yeah. So the kind of overall plot is obviously Coco learning magic, right? So it's a sort of
When you say the main plot is Coco learning magic, is it like I mean, because there are sort of these main storylines or these main sort of objectives
yeah.
that both of these characters have to get to, right? Because it's like they have to find the forbidden magic people and all that stuff. But is it more kind of the school is a general theme while the characters go towards that, or is it more of a Little Witch Academia vibe where it's a little bit more of a
No,
focus on the
yeah. So
schools and the
the
various things?
end so the end goal is to discover
Mm,
who this like um whether it's an individual or if it's a group or whatever, um discover who is kind of like disseminating these forbidden magic books out to the
mhm,
world, kind of like put a stop to it, right? And obviously there's like a mystery and a conspiracy there as well, but the backbone, and kind of like the way the plot, rides to that destination is through Coco learning magic, right? And the sort of struggles that comes with, and the other apprentices that she has to deal with. There's a rival character. Um, there's other people within, kind of witch society that are, kind of putting blockages into Coco's path, because Coco is like, she's an outsider, right? She hasn't raised as a witch,
Right.
and
Right.
she has cast forbidden magic, and so it's kind of a black mark on her, sort of, in like witch society, right? And she
Mhm.
kind of has to pull double duty to kind of prove her worth, that she's not like, she's actually capable of being a witch, and she's not just kind of um like riding off the coattails of her master, right? Or her teacher or
Mhm.
whatever. um
I guess, is the screen time a 50-50 between, half of the time she interacts with the witches in society, and then she goes through, it's kind of like a Harry Potter balance of screen time, right? Where half the time she takes classes or interacts with her fellow classmates or whatever, and then the other half is she ends up in some sort of room or wherever, or location where she has to
yeah,
find out more about is that sort of it? A Harry Potter kind of
yeah,
scenario?
so it's kind of, so it's this is technically a seinen, right? So it's kind of got like
Mhm.
the, like, soft shonen kind of influences, where it's like
Mm,
the you have half the series where it's obviously Coco kind of doing, you know self discovery, and exploring what, her ability to grow, through magic, applying her skills as, like, because before she became a witch, she was like a tailor or whatever, and her abilities to, uh, like, draw clean lines, like with the chalk or whatever on fabric. Her applying that to, drawing sigils, stuff like that. It's like have that, like the character kind of exploration stuff, and then half of it is um casting spells to fight a dragon type shit. You know what I mean? Um, like a conflict, right? Where
yeah.
these like secret witch people will, like, pull them into some sort of scenario, and they're like, oh fuck, like we got to get out of this, and um, it's that's kind of how it goes, right?
How do the conflicts work in that sort of, or like how in that world do they explain more fast-paced combat and conflicts working if they have to sit and like write sigils, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so a lot of it is kind of um like leading something kind of into a trap kind of thing, Um
Oh, okay, okay. Like
yeah, like
sigils that they already have set up.
yeah, it's almost like a Batman kind of thing, where it's like you need prep
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
in order to set that shit up, you need time, and then you kind
I
of need
like
a
that
plan
idea
to
more.
like execute it, right? Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, the magic system is definitely very well, like, thought out. Like they give like, um
Well,
there's
it
like
also
multiple
leads to
scenes
less
across
of
multiple
those sorts of
episodes.
like, yeah, I think it also leads to, I mean, there are plenty of other series. I'm not gonna sit here and say stuff like, "Oh, Free Run is bad" or whatever. But on a lot of these sorts of magic series, right? What happens is it kind of ends up becoming laser beams at each other, right? Like
Yeah,
despite
yeah,
all the different
Yeah, it's like
whatever spells,
very
yeah,
very like newer RPG magic where it's like you
yeah,
just you just cast that shit. You got mana, you can cast it.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Whereas this
again,
system's a
it's
lot
like the
more.
same with Harry Potter. It's like pew
Yeah,
pew 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 pew. It's like at the
yeah.
end of the day.
Well,
This
at the very
system's a
least,
lot
Harry
more
Potter has to
deliberate for
chant.
sure. Yeah, they have to at
Yeah.
least like say the things. Um, but yeah, this one is very interesting, because they get pretty um creative with it, because like um there's rules as well against, like, there's, so that you can't do any magic that what is it, like, affects a human being, right? So basically, you can't draw a sigil onto like human skin, right? So you can't do anything that teleports you, like your physical
Is that
body.
just part of the rules of
Um,
which society, or is it
yeah, so
Yeah.
those
literally
are like
not?
those are like
Oh,
rules.
okay,
So it would be like forbidden
okay,
magic, right?
okay,
You
okay,
can't
okay.
like, yeah, you can't like specifically use magic that would like physically harm an individual. Um, you can't like brainwash or hypnotize somebody. And the only
Mhm,
like they say that there's like the one loophole for like casting magic upon an individual is the memory wipe thing to like keep
mhm,
magic hidden, right? Um, but yeah, they get pretty creative with the sigil stuff because early on they introduced like these flying shoes, right? And
mhm.
the way the flying shoes work is that half the sigil is on one shoe, and then the other half of the sigil is on the other shoe. And then when you bring your feet together, the sigil completes, and then you have the spell that casts and it propels you upwards, right? Um,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they get pretty creative with the magic stuff as well. Um, but yeah, the magic system is definitely a highlight. Um, the story itself, like I said, it's pretty simple, um, but it's paced well. Um, the episodes that are out so far are they are mostly set up, but like I said, like the main kind of big conflict so far has been um, the dragon, and then before that she had to do like this test thing where she had to get some. She went into like the wilderness and she had to get some like random like, sage, you know, root or some shit. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she kind of had to improvise because she had the flying shoes and then she fell into the water and then the sigil gets, you know, all washed out. So she has to like
Oh, okay, okay,
improvise
okay.
in order how to
Mm,
like propel herself upwards. And she ends up building effectively um, like a flying broom. But the way it flies is that she tied a like her cape to the wood, and then she drew like a wind like uh, propulsion thing onto the cape, so that way it acts as like a sail and it shoots upwards. Um, so yeah, it's really cool how the magic works. Um,
mhm.
and yeah, the characters are all pretty good from what they've introduced so far. They're pretty simple, but they all work pretty well. The main kind of like drivers so far are like Coco herself, obviously, and then Keyfree is the teacher, and then like there's the rival character, Agat, and she's more of like a, you know, I don't want you around here because you're an outsider, and you know, you being here kind of, it's like a stain on, you know, all the hard work that I've put in, you know, to be here. You know, the fact that Coco was able to kind of just be an apprentice without really like, you know, going through all of the shit that Agot's gone through,
Right,
because
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Agot's been in Witch Society like since she was born, basically, and she's had to, you
Mhm.
know, really work hard and, you know, mastering like drawing sigils and shit like that. And then Coco shows up and she's kind of just handed this shit. Um, and Agot kind of has a resentment towards that, right? Um, and so Coco kind of has to um, work kind of like double duty to prove herself within Agot's eyes, and also, you know, um, to overcome her own kind of insecurities about, you know, her shortcomings or her fears of using magic, right? Because, you know, her own kind of misstep is what caused her mother to be encased in fucking stone to begin with, right? So she has her own apprehensions about
Mhm.
using magic to begin with. Um,
Right, 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 right.
so yeah, that's kind of the main um, drive so far in terms of characters. Um, but yeah,
Okay,
it's all been
okay.
handled very well. Um, and nobody's like Agot is confrontational, but she's not like it's not like a melodramatic kind of rivalry thing where Agot is kind of just like, oh, I hate you and you're stupid and you're dumb, right? Um,
Mm,
like the reason for Agot's animosity is obvious, right? But it's not like contrived. You know what I mean? It is very understandable. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
it's
think
not
It
it's
like
also
good.
any
has
very weird like.
pretty reasonable boundaries too, is what
Yeah,
I'd say. Because
yeah,
it's like,
Mhm.
she's not out there like twirling her mustache behind the scenes like I'm gonna get her killed. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
more so wants to
Um,
see her rise to the occasion then, like prove
yeah, it's
herself
basically
that
like
she belongs there.
it's almost like a tough love kind of thing where it's like if you want to make it in witch society, like you have to overcome the shit that I'm throwing you, because otherwise you're just gonna be dead. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, so it's quite good.
Mhm.
Um, as for the audio visuals, right? Um, this is a really good looking
Yeah,
show.
so.
Yeah. Um, this show is really, really good looking. And I think a big worry I remember a lot of people having when the anime was originally announced for this series, like, I don't remember when, like a long time ago, at least like 5 years ago. But people were really worried because the manga has like really pretty art. Like, it's really, really detailed. It's very um, uh, almost like storybookish. There's a lot of like the backgrounds and stuff are just like very um almost like a folklore or like a fable kind of thing. Um, so it was very uh interesting to see like how exactly that would be put into motion, right? But Bug Films has done a really good job. Obviously, it's not like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly Zom 100, but it should be like
yeah, and
pretty
it's not
close,
like
right?
1-to-1 to the manga. But they've done a very good job at kind of keeping that almost like a whimsical tone with the background art, especially. The background art is very, very nice. And
Yeah, I
then
was
the
gonna say
color
the
palette,
environments are gorgeous. Like,
yeah, the color palette is super, super
Mhm.
nice as well. It's very warm. Um, uh, even when they're in, even when it's like, say, like the sun is almost completely set, or it's a more um melancholic scene or something like that, it's still very like warm palettes. Like, it uses these warm palettes even to uh kind of emphasize scenes where Coco's feeling very lonely, right? Like, it doesn't it doesn't really feel like desaturated, I guess. Um, but yeah, the color palette is really nice, and then the animation itself is also super good. The character acting is super good. The magic effects are very, very nice. I think there's a little bit of I don't want to say like shoddy CG, because the CG isn't like bad, but it is apparent. There's a scene in episode 1 um, where Coco's like on the top of her house, and
Mhm.
she's running along kind of like this walkway that's on her roof, and the way her house is shaped is like it's basically like it's like a mushroom almost, right? But the top is like conical instead of like a mushroom head, and then it's got a walkway around it, and she's hanging um, laundry on the top. And then there's a shot where she's running along the walkway around the house, and it keeps the camera centered directly on Coco, but then the house itself rotates um, to keep her centered. You know what I mean? As like the camera pans around the house, and you can tell that the
Mhm.
house is CG, right? Um,
Right, yeah, as
and
they
it
usually do in a lot of
yeah,
these
and
seasons.
it
Yeah.
stands out, but it doesn't look bad if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, it's a very cool shot actually, but yeah, a lot of the character acting and stuff is done very nice as well. Um, and again, it's not like a super action heavy series, but the last two episodes, episode 4 and 5, have pretty much all been about the the dragon, right? And the dragon
Oh, okay, I see.
the dragon looks really fucking good. It's like almost entirely hand drawn, which is not something you see very often in these series. I think the last like hand-drawn dragon we got was Dungeon Meshi, right? And even that was a huge abnormality. And it looks really, really cool. They do some really, really impressive shots with it. A lot of flying through the air and dynamic camera angles and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a very, very impressive show. I genuinely think if it keeps this kind of pace like throughout the entire series, like if it's this consistent, uh, I'd say I think Strange Fake probably still like beats it out in terms of like best visuals kind of thing.
Of the year, yeah.
Um, but this is this is an easy runner up. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
it's really
yeah,
nice
yeah.
looking and it's very consistent too. Um,
I'm
so
just glad that a lot of these series are really pushing the the envelope, or like even if they're not necessarily pushing the technology envelope, they're really keeping up. Some of these series are actually trying to still keep up that quality despite,
well, it's like
it potentially
I was
costing a
talking
lot of money,
about.
right?
I think I touched upon this when I was covering Strange Fake, right? Where I feel like
Mm.
is the bar has been raised, right?
Yeah, yeah,
By
yeah, yeah.
studios like Mappa, and now A1 has been like, oh yeah, well check this shit out, um, and now, even these newer studios like Bug Films are like, well, if we want to be put on the map, if we want to get eyes, if we want to be noticed, like the standard for you know these cuts, these like the animation in general has been raised so high that you kind of can't really
Hmm.
just put out bog standard um you know shot reverse shot kind of um series. You know what I mean? Like you need these
Right.
really dynamic storyboards and these really impressive cuts. Um, and in order to do that, uh, you got to start hiring very talented animators, right?
And
Um,
actually paying them more. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and then the question that I had with Strange Fake, and even now, it's like, how long can the anime industry do this with the amount of talent pool that it has within the animator um, industry, and like keep this up, across
Right, exactly.
however many studios now, right? Because we know like the animators at Mappa are being run ragged, um, but also they're working for these other studios at the same time as
Yeah,
like
yeah,
at the
exactly.
same time as they're doing all this crazy shit for Mappa. So yeah, it's definitely a question of how long can the anime industry keep this up, but it does look nice. It does look nice for sure. Um,
Yeah, what would help if the government and all the companies
They gave them
doing stuff.
$2,000 each.
yeah,
No, just no, $2,000 only to the first place
yeah,
of
for
the
for
next
the
manga
first place of
awards.
some
Right, right.
random fucking competition where yeah, where in the competition themselves they have to run themselves fucking ragged for that tiny little prize. Yeah,
Also,
it's a great
they
idea.
have to use AI randomly. The
Yeah,
director will randomly be found out to be using generative AI. That everybody will
yeah,
make a fuss about it on Twitter, and he'll apologize, but then he'll do it again in like 3 months.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
quickly, OPED. The OP is Kazino Anthem, uh, featuring Suisse from Yorishika, by Eve,
Oh, okay.
and um, I don't like this song. I'm gonna
Oh no.
I'm gonna be straight up. I think this song is really boring. Um,
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
the it almost feels like the most boring bump of chicken song you can imagine. Um, is kind of how I would describe it. It's like it starts off nice with these strings, and it's kind of got this kind of, you know, um, almost like medieval fair kind of vibe to it, and then it immediately goes into the most generic J-pop you've ever heard, and it really kind of kills the vibe.
Yeah, I would say
Um,
it also doesn't help that I don't think that vocals particularly like complement anything that isn't like weird and moody in my
Yeah.
opinion.
The visuals, however, are really, really nice. They're really, really good. Again, leaning into this kind of sort of medieval, um, like diagram, kind of the way like those. If you look at those old like books of like alchemy or like sword fighting diagrams, stuff like that. They've got that kind of like penmanship stuff going on in some of the backgrounds, and there's a lot
Like
of
a little
really
bit more calligraphic,
yeah
kind of,
yeah
or
yeah
just yeah.
or like old medieval maps with the way they'd like make the compass as like the sun, and it's got like the bits of
Oh
fire
yeah,
as
yeah, 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 yeah.
the cardinal directions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's got stuff like that. It's really nice looking.
yeah. Like
Um,
stuff like heraldry and stuff
yeah,
so on.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really nice vibe. And then the ED is oh, I guess
I
does
believe
the
there are
song
multiple,
change?
right? Yeah, I
Yeah, so
believe
the
it's
song
a
change. So the
different
songs
ED
change.
and visuals each time, I believe as well.
Yeah, I think the visuals change a little bit here and there. But so the first ED is Tada Utsukushi Noroi by Nakamura Hawk, and it's a kind of a banger. I'm not gonna lie. Um, it's a very kind of soft, um, emotional kind of ballad kind of track, and it's nice. It's really good. Um, and then the visuals themselves are kind of this monochrome, um, almost like outlines only kind of thing, uh, where at the very end it kind of blooms with color kind of thing. And it's nice. It's cute. And then the second ED is Yoru ni Ukabu by Nakamura Hack as well. Also a banger. And yeah, some of the visuals change, and then sometimes they kind of just do the thing where um, the episode kind of just plays out, and then the ED track plays over it, and then they kind of just show the credits. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So the ED doesn't always play, but when it does, it's quite pretty. Um,
Yeah, so how
but yeah,
about what's the deal with key phrases being fucking from Jujutsu
Gojo.
Kaisen? Yeah, Gojo.
Yeah,
What's
he's
going on
Gojo.
there? Why'd they copy him?
Well, when did
I was gonna say I
when did
believe
you
this predates Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah, when did Jujutsu Kaisen
Yeah.
like
I
serialize
believe
start
Jujutsu
serializing?
technically
Kaisen was
Jujutsu
made in
Kaisen.
2000 BC, so you know.
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen is like marks the start of anime, so you know
That's
it's a
That's
true.
little bit
true.
That's
hard.
That
true.
is very true. The new
Anything
era.
before Jujutsu Kaisen is like prehistoric anime. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Like My
real
Hero
anime.
Academia. That was in the My Hero Academia era.
yeah. So Witch Hat Atelier does in fact predate Jujutsu Kaisen. So
Yeah.
um there's that. But yeah, Kifuri does look like Gojo. He's got he's got those cute little um
Those piercing blue
glasses.
eyes.
Yeah. Um a I guess a couple quick noteworthy staff selections. Uh Director Ayumu Watanabe, who last episode I pointed out is one of the episode directors for Akane Banashi, um, along with many other things
Oh,
that
okay.
I covered when I talked about Akane Banashi.
Hmm.
Doing a pretty damn good job here. Actually,
Yep.
a lot of the cuts are really nice. A lot of the directing and stuff is really cool. Script series composition is Hiroshi Seko. Um, he's worked on a lot of shit like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Gachiakuta, Dandadan. Uh, let me keep scrolling here. Zone 100, um, Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Mob Psycho. So, you know, You get the picture. He's
Mhm.
pretty talented, pretty well rooted in the industry. Doing a pretty good job here. Forget who I saw on music, but the music as well. I forgot to kind of cover it. It's quite good here. Um, a lot of strings, a lot of flutes, like you'd expect for a more fantasy series. Um,
Mhm.
very whimsical. But yeah, it's quite good. Um, the voice cast. I mean, is voice cast really super worth?
Yeah, I just skimmed through I just skimmed through it real quick. I think most of them are pretty standard names. For instance,
Yeah,
Hanae Natsuki, pretty famous. Kunona Misaki, Isaga Mitsuki. I think the main heroine in Coco, right,
yeah.
is a pretty
Coco. So
new
she's a
person.
relative
Yeah.
newcomer.
Yeah, she's been popping off in some of these other stuff again. She did Shiba Yugi, she did Maebashi Witches, which is like a smaller stuff, but I think the sort of multimedia project around it is like popping off now. But
Yeah,
she's pretty new. And then one other, I think, Riche, which is Tsukishiro Hika, I think, is doing it. And then
right.
she's also relatively new. But other than
Yeah.
those, most have been pretty
To be
famous,
fair, Riche
prolific.
is a character that speaks like once every 2 episodes. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Coco,
So,
Coco, she's the Rena Motomuda. She does a pretty good job with Coco.
mhm,
Very because Coco as a character is very. She's got that very reserved, very apprehensive kind of um tone to her. But then she kind of has
mhm.
to um kind of lock in every once in a while, right? So she does a good job for sure. Yeah, the voice cast is all doing a very good job, but yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's too much else to really point out. Um, it
Okay.
is kind of pretty much just overall a very good show.
I mean, even the story aside, you would still potentially give it one of the best visuals of the year so far. So,
Yeah, for
right?
sure,
So,
for sure. It
mhm,
looks good. The story. I think the story is good. I think the characters are good. They're all likable. Um, yeah, it looks good. It sounds good. It is good. There's really not too much I can pick apart here. I will say, I think the last thing worth noting is that the mangaka himself actually commented that I think before the first episode aired, the mangaka was like, "Hey, by the way, there's going to be some stuff that's a little bit rearranged, like out of order, compared
mm,
to
mm, mm.
like 1-to-1 to the manga, and uh, they themselves are actually the ones that put that forward to kind of
Okay, okay, okay.
re um, reorder some of the um, way things are introduced or some of the way that things are paced, stuff like that. So,
At
um,
least that's good because they're communicating with the studio and kind of structuring it out in a
yeah,
way that, everybody's kind of satisfied.
yeah. So, um,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's
What's your
good.
Mal
It's
rating
a good
for it?
show. So this is currently sitting at 8.7 on Mal, um,
Wow, that's pretty high even for
which is
Mal.
quite
Like,
high for Mal.
yeah.
And I think it's pretty fair. I think I'd probably give this a 9, as it
Hmm.
stands right now.
Hmm.
It is very, very good. Um, I'm, I'm not 100% sure. So the manga has been going for a while, but I know it has been pretty slow. Um, so I don't know if this is going to get a second core. It's scheduled for 13 episodes, which is pretty standard, right? Um, and it might get a second core, it might not, but I think even if it doesn't, I think this would be kind of like solid as an individual package. So yeah, um, yeah, I think a 9 is fair. Um, it's good. So, and from what I can tell, this is basically like the most popular kind of series this season, especially like in the Western kind of
Right,
anime
right.
viewer crowd. So
And it has
yeah,
that sort of general, like the setup and the themes and the characters all have a general vibe where it it's one of those series where you can kind of show to a general audience as well, right? It's not very
Yeah,
limited
yeah.
in
It's
terms
not
of extreme violence or extreme weird niche humor or whatever, right?
yeah, it's not a problematic media as the youth calls it.
It's too woke though, so
Yeah, it is
That's
woke. It is
true.
woke. There are people of color in this, and they don't get called slurs,
was
which
that
is crazy.
yeah what was that sort of what happened on this on the social media landscape with regards to Witch Hat Atelier? What was it about? I didn't really look
So
at it.
it didn't really, from what I had seen, it's not so much that like people were shitting on it. It was more so people being like, people who knew were like, some people were gonna have a fit when they realize like how woke this author
Oh,
is, like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and how much representation is actually in this manga in the later parts.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay,
I don't
okay.
know if the
All right,
anime
well,
will necessarily get to some of that, but yeah. The mangaka is a woke um
woke warrior.
yeah, as some might put it. But yeah,
All
quite
right,
funny.
sounds good though. All right, well, thank you very much, Nier, for helping to cover Witch Hat Atelier. Again, the uh, original manga and then adapted into an anime by Bug Films of Zom 100 fame. So obviously, you know, it's coming from a good place. Uh, they were originally spun off from OLM Studio, which, you know, they've done also a pretty good job as well. But definitely, you know, they have the audiovisual chops. So please, I think this general does have a I don't want to say general appeal. It's not like a specific niche theme or anything like that. So I would say, you know, bring your bring your parents to anime night, right? It's one of those sorts of series, but
Yeah.
please do check it out if you have the time. And it was one of the anticipated series of the year, or sorry, of the season. And I'm glad it panned out well, and I'm glad that Nier helped review it properly. So thank you very much, Nier. All right. And last but not least, Dark is here to impress
I mean,
us
I wouldn't
with
say that
a
that much.
splendid finish. After Witch Hat Atelier, what
True.
could possibly
Yeah,
top
I mean,
that?
honestly, like
The Dark
Not
Series.
this
this.
could be in the running of like one of the greatest. I almost spilt soda all over my computer again.
This.
Um,
Tell us about the state of the series that you were about to
only
cover.
yeah, that was an omen right there. Yeah, so I have get that away. I have Needy Girl Overdose, the anime. Yippee! Oh man, where to start with this? So this was originally a VN. Um,
Mhm.
this was a VN that I never played because once you've seen Doki Doki Literature Club, you've seen them all. Um, and not as in VNs, but this
Technically,
is like
I'd
a
say technically
fucking
it's more like an SLG, like a simulation kind of thing. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I
simulator.
guess, but
But
it's
yeah.
just like I don't know, bro. Like this, like
Bro, it's art, okay? It's
call me
art at the
crazy.
highest
After
level.
DDLC, I'm kind of like, you know what? We don't need subversive media
Fourth
like
wall
this anymore.
breaking.
We don't need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. But we're good.
This guy
And I
doesn't
kind of expected the
appreciate
wave.
true art.
Listen, motherfucker, the main fucking like idol's name is OMG Kawaii Angel. Like
Yeah.
I don't care
You
if it's
just
supposed to be
don't get
meta.
it.
I
You
don't
don't get the
care
youth.
if it's yeah, exactly. You're gonna be like, I don't get it. It's like I don't care,
Dude, it's
okay?
ironic. It's ironic millennial humor, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The best, the best kind of humor.
Sometimes,
Oh man.
sometimes, just because something might make sense in your head, you should probably step back and say, is this
Should I
truly
make
what I should
this?
put forward? You know? But yeah, oh man, where to start with this one? I'll just read the synopsis. In a world where likes are currency and every viewer is a judge,
Death
K
Stranding.
Angel. Yeah, K Angel is determined to become the ultimate internet angel. Yet beneath her pastel smile and lively streams, there's more than meets the eye.
While you're reading the premise, and also while I was watching the stream, I was unironically doing the full Michael Scott from The Office grimace, from that gif or from that scene.
Yeah.
I was doing that grimace as I was just going
Hey,
through
listen,
it.
man, it's
It
like I
was
posted
not.
earlier, like with all of this, I just have like the permanent like Homelander look of disgust on my face. Like glaring at it. Like I hate everything about this. Um
My
yeah,
God.
so just to preface this, I'm a hater. If you haven't noticed, I'm a hater. I hate this series. This series basically the anime starts getting into a like what would you call it? Not deuteragonist, like what is that when there's three?
Uh, I th-
Three protagonists?
uh, I think you could call them also deuteragonists, right?
Is deuteragonist
Because
just like multiple? Okay, maybe.
yeah, I think deuteragonist is multiple.
Either way,
Or no,
whatever.
deuteragonist is second, I guess. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
You
that's what.
just
Yeah, so I don't know what either way. There's three. There's basically three main characters going on here. Don't let Mal's listing of K Angel being the main character throw you off there because she's not really in the show that much when you think about it, when you actually really get into it.
Mhm.
Regardless, I mean, Session earlier in the Discord, shout out to him for, not pointing this out, but really doing the synopsis of basically you got three stories going on at the same time. You got the one story of a misanthropic girly pop streamer, but a doomer IRL. You have another girl who's trying to turn her life around, but she's living and stuck with her like rapey boyfriend. We'll get into that later. And she works at a maid cafe. And then you have, a lesbian throuple streamer like hype house who's trying to knock off, I guess, K Angel from like the main streamer spot. Okay, so there's a lot going on in the series, but I guess the synopsis is kind of that. Like, there's really not much else to discuss because let's just get right into it. This series is a fucking mess. It is a disaster.
yeah,
It is hard to
I
follow.
I watched
It
it too.
I
Yeah,
said
it's
earlier that it very much feels like someone who has only consumed maybe like Shaft content, like Studio Shaft content, and then gave them, and
mangas,
maybe like
basically.
the PowerPoint episode of Lane, and then gave themselves a lobotomy and was like, I'm gonna make an anime now. This is what I'm gonna do. This anime really likes to do random shit with its directing. It likes to change up colors for fun. It likes to change it to a 4x3 and make it really pixelated and fuzzy because isn't that deep. It likes to throw text overlays on things. It likes to just have text on screen because, again, like I said, they watched any of Monogatari and then gave themselves a lobotomy. So we're just gonna do text cut-ins whenever we feel like it, I guess.
This is gonna be the exact opposite of Nokotan, where during Nokotan people were like, excuse me, you're thinking about it too hard. If you just turn all of
Yeah,
your
now they're
brain
going to be
cells
like,
to
I'm not
completely
thinking about it enough. You don't
yeah,
understand how
exactly.
kino it is to
That
just
screen
do
cut, yeah,
to do
that
random
that
fucking
screen cut
screen
talks
cuts.
about the youth suffering.
Yeah,
So
and
come on, man.
characters being in environments like they're like non-liminal spaces or liminal spaces,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck the term is. Either way, the backgrounds in this series, all of the settings in this series look like garbage. All of the backgrounds look like garbage. If you like where Shaft uses these types of ideas tastefully, and I believe who's the studio that did the playing death games to put food on the table. I remember Toast brought that up, and Toast
Uh,
linked some shots too that
I
looked
think it's
quite
Dive.
nice.
It's Dive, which was
That
like
was
the
that? Okay.
Konosuba movie
Yeah, so
series.
like
Yeah.
so they had some really nice stuff in that, with like simplifying the characters, making them just the colors and no outline, things like that nature. Now imagine if a studio was doing that to just basically cut corners and save time. It would look like shit. Introducing Needy Girl Overdose. It looks like shit. The
Kind of
CG
reminds me of what you're
backgrounds
talking about
look
with
like
like
something.
roll over die.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the CG background. I mean, Roll Over and Die look better than this. Let's be real. This series uses a lot of CG, and it does not look good. It is not blended well. It is animated on like,
Bro, it's
it's got
intentional.
like the
You don't get
24
it.
frames per
It's
second
intentional.
animated on twos, but it looks like shit, so it doesn't matter. Like it's not like it looks
It's all
tasteful.
part of
Like
the plan. You don't see the vision. You don't get
yeah,
it.
I don't get it. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not get it. All of the parts with like it's really incomprehensible to say like what it's trying to do with this series, right? Because none of the stories are particularly compelling. They're not interesting. The second girl I was talking about with the maid cafe with the rapey boyfriend literally has a scene which is like whoever wrote this scene, I don't know if it's in the game. I don't care if it's in the game. Whoever wrote it should go to fucking prison
Probably
forever
in the game.
because like it introduces a like sexual assault, like the beginning of a sexual assault slash rape scene by having the character's boyfriend like come in and he's just like a fucking animated like a menace like and just like
Like a
animated like
hentai NPC.
again
Yeah.
like a cartoon villain, and then it's like
Uh-huh.
oh bleh, bleh, like let's my day sucked, and she was like shouldn't you have been practicing guitar, and he's like I was going to but my day's shit and I'm mad and we should have sex because I'm mad. He literally drops a line, I'm mad because I lost in my video game and all of my teammates are terrible. And it's like fuck you. Fuck you.
That's hashtag
I
relatable, dude.
yeah, first of all, hashtag relatable. Play one game of Overwatch and you'll realize that, maybe people
League.
aren't so good at video games. I feel like League's a little bit of a different story. Like I feel like a lot of people eat shit
Okay.
in League quite often. Overwatch is kind of a different beast where you're just like, damn, this is a team-based game where like no one knows how to play this shit, huh? Um But like the idea, like I know what they're doing in that scene, and I talked to Nier about it, and I equated it to the Law and Order SVU scene that became famous, where it was like a rape victim at a gamer convention, or survivor, if we're being woke, um, talks to the police, and they're like, "Oh my god, what happened to you? That you got assaulted by gamers?" And she goes, "They leveled up," and it's like,
Yeah.
wow. That is the most disgusting depiction of a very serious subject I've seen in a very long time. So
You got
that
too much
really
EXP,
that
bro.
really pissed me off. That really made me very angry. Um and yeah, to
To be
be
fair,
to
it
be
is
the
real
friend
life.
that's
When the
that's
actress
too
like
woke,
Kuno and
like
shit. Yeah.
okay, first of all, that's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
You can't be that a little bit different, a little bit not equatable. I
Yeah,
am
that's true.
but it
I think
reads
it's
like some
insane.
shit like
I think
that.
it's
It
exactly
reads
the
like
same.
it does read like some shit like that when you think about it. It is that level of like idiocy to
Like
and
cringe.
haphazard nature. Yeah, to fucking be like a rapey boyfriend, he's mad because and like look like he was playing a video game and like these are like gamers who like everyone's on my team, everyone sucks, that's how like fucking nasty they are. And it's like why would you why use this to try to fucking like talk about or not even talk about to just like depict sexual assault, like seriously. And
It's
I think
very
it's
like
disingenuous
the
to be like,
lingo is not good.
well,
Yeah, the lingo is
huh?
very weird.
No,
Yeah. The
the
lingo
lingo's
is just like
awful. The way it's introduced is terrible.
yeah.
The fact that like that's how you're gonna introduce sexual assault is like so fucking stupid to me because again, it's like
Uh-huh.
it's depicted so cartoonishly bad that it's like it takes so much away from it, where it's like if it was a much more
Right.
almost like directed as if this was a benign scene, but like what's going on, and like and more so with like either body language or just like normal conversation that then leads to sexual assault, I think that would be a much more effective scene. But it would have to be directed by someone with fucking talent. But we're not dealing with that here. We're dealing with Needy Girl Overdose. So beyond that, like I said, story-wise, like who gives a shit about any of the other stuff? It's a bunch of characters sitting in like, again, like liminal spaces that, I mean, we'll call them liminal spaces, but realistically, it's just like spaces that look like shit. Just environments that have no detail or lack detail. Environments that either make no sense, like, and you could say like that's the point of the series, but again, it just looks terrible. It just looks like it looks bad because it looks flat. Everything like it just looks unfinished. It looks like raw render files, and just not textured in some scenarios too with the CG. So
And the worst part is also the worst part of that is that if you have kind of meh visuals, but the way the storyboarding works, it's a little bit more of it shows a little bit more of a coherent plot, different perspectives from different characters and so
yeah,
on.
no,
But
unfortunately, this was
from
storyboarded as a fucking YouTube poop. So
yeah,
that's
it looks
that's what
like
we're
it's
dealing
trying to
with
do this
instead.
weird like new ground or like with this weird like exhibition style. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like weird, almost proof of concept art exhibition kind of level of like, oh, there's just like things that are like displayed, or there are these scenes that are played out for that make it kind of look symbolic,
Yeah,
or that
or
make it look
like
like there's like a bigger
or
thing going on or
again,
whatever. But it's just
trying to
English
be
porn.
like a
Yeah,
very, very, very higher concept, or like higher concept like
yeah,
directing
exactly.
like Shaft series, but it's like this
It's
doesn't
English porn.
understand the assignment like at all of what you
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be doing here. Because none of this is like followable. I mean, it is, but it's just
yeah,
like
yeah, exactly.
annoying. It's just annoying to
It's
do
like
so.
super obnoxious.
It's
Yeah.
very scatterbrained. And yeah, I think one of the bigger highlights or lowlights, I guess you could say, is the fact that the audio visuals are just so atrocious, because it's just at every level this is not good. Um,
Yeah.
and audio wise, the mixing is terrible. The quality of the voices is like the actual audio quality is abysmal. It sounds like a recording, like, and just the audio composition isn't good either in that regard, because like things will be dead silent, and it just doesn't sound like characters are in a scene, right? And it doesn't, and again, it doesn't give you a feeling of like, oh, this is a liminal space. It just gives you a feeling of this just sucks ass, like this just isn't good, it's just not finished. Which is a shame, because it's like, we love to see directors, like new directors, coming out with like insane first showings, like first projects, and this is unfortunately the directorial debut of someone who doesn't have many credits to begin with, and now this is their first thing
Right,
they've
right, right.
directed. And this is, I think, the first time that I've been like reviewing something and I'm like, oh, this is the first thing they've directed. Yeah, it fucking shows. Like, it shows. Holy,
Yeah,
like,
it's very unfortunate.
man,
And they
very
also
rough.
have
It's
very difficult
crazy too,
source
because
material to work with too.
yeah, and it's just
So,
like, uh, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking with this, right? Like, it's very strange,
mm,
and it doesn't make any sense to me either, because again, like, even the like sound director, like this shouldn't be happening, right? The sound director is
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Kaiju number 8 sound director, and Gachi Akuta, like Gachi Kuda, like these two shows, or even then, Uma Musume, Cinderella Gray, like this guy does like sound directing for like everything,
Oh
right?
God.
Like, so like the idea that these scenes, their sound direction is so terrible is very strange.
It has to be a top director issue. Yeah, it has to be a top director issue.
It's got to be a top-down
unfortunately.
issue. I mean, and
Yeah.
so yeah, there's that. Obviously, then you also have the Needy Girl Overdose soundtrack, which for me, I'm not gonna say that I think less of people that like this kind of music. And I'm gonna try really hard not to say that. But it's really just, I don't get the appeal of like really annoying grating synths that try to sound like an 80s-ish vibe, but then also have like, which also what I don't understand about this series too is that they have that type of music, but then it's paired up with visuals at different points, including in the OP, which I guess we can discuss OPED, which also sucks. Because the OP is Internet Angel by OMG Kawaii Angel. And again, it's that very 80s, like blaring synths, like very hard, like clipping audio.
Right.
And on top of that, the visuals, for some reason, are all like vaporwave visuals. Right? So you have like the vaporwave sun, the what would you call it? Like the Greco-Roman bust, things like that. But that doesn't what doesn't make sense to me is like, why are you showing that when that's like not the type of music you're using though? Right? Like that's not like, I guess if you want to say like, oh, it's because it's like, you know, the vaporwave, it's like, you know, technically Idol, when you think about it, like Idol stuff like this is kind of in that same vein of like overconsumption type deals, right? But
Right.
to me, I was like, I'm pretty sure like vaporwave just musically just has a different vibe than that. But okay. So that kind of doesn't make much sense, but that to me also kind of just really highlights the sort of vapidness of this entire series in that sense, right? Because it's like, yeah, you're just like taking visuals and stuff and you're just kind of like throwing it together and you're like, well, ain't that a vibe? It's like, no, not really. like not like no, because it's not really cohesive. So it's not even really a vibe. It's just kind of a bunch of bullshit that you think is deep. But it's not really deep at all. In fact, it's very shallow.
It's like a general like. It's just like a generally Manhattan theme, and you're just
Yeah, it's like
constantly
a
putting
Menhera
up
theme
English
with
porn.
like idle
Yeah,
bullshit,
and you're
and it's
putting up
like,
English porn, and you're like, oh, this is just
yeah,
how
isn't
bad
this like,
people can be in
yeah, like
society.
this is how it
But
is. It's like, listen, you're better off trying to consider like fucking oh god, how have I already forgotten that series? The recent-ish one with the twins like Al and stuff. That Idol series, where the idol's like killed in the beginning or whatever. It's the revenge series ish type deal with the children.
yeah, yeah. I know
I
which
don't
series you're
understand
talking about.
how
I'm
I'm
forgetting
blanking on it.
it. Yeah.
But you know, other people know what I'm talking about, right? You know, she's got the sparkles in her eyes. Like, I forget that series. I wasn't a fan of that particularly either. Just where it goes, but I think that series
Or what?
yes, Oshinoko, yeah,
Okay.
that series does a way better job at being like a much fuller like look into the seedier nature of idol culture and stuff like that.
Oh
And
yeah, for
even
sure.
then, I would say it doesn't do it incredibly like well or you know, that amazing when what you could do. I think it pulls punches and is a little too melodramatic in certain points.
Mm.
But this series doesn't even come close to doing anything or like close to a commentary on anything. Because of how just scatterbrained it winds up being. And yeah, I didn't even mention this is somehow with visuals this abysmal. This is a YoStar Pictures production, which is shocking to me.
Ooh,
I had to like
okay.
quadruple check because like the Arcanite series, from everything I've seen of it, is fine, like to quite good. The Blue Archive, the animation was fine. Like it wasn't incredible, but it wasn't terrible. Yeah, it was
It had some really nice cuts. It was a
yeah,
bit
like the
inconsistent at
visuals
times,
are
but it did have some really
yeah.
nice cuts.
It wasn't like you booted up the show and you were like, all right, I press play. Wow, this shit's ugly.
Yeah.
Which is what's happening here. And then yeah, and like I said, like the Arknight series are quite nice visually, and also God, is this the what is this the Go Loser Ranger? Like that wasn't particularly an ugly series either. Um, but like this is a terrible showing. I like so in that regard, I don't even know what happened. I again, I can only assume it's just like just over like on from the top like director shit and just a both inexperienced director that they kind of like I would love to know like the behind the scenes discussion of like one who decided on this to adapt to begin with, and two like did this director volunteer or did they just like basically send him out like the one the lone samurai standing in the as the wave of fucking arrows comes. What happened here? Because someone did
Yeah.
this, and I don't know if it's his fault. I don't know if it's production's fault. I don't know if it's like C-suite
The
fault.
people with the yeah, exactly. Like the
Yeah,
people
I don't
with
know
the
if it's like
original
the
rights,
suits.
like kind of taking over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or that. Yeah. So I don't know, but I do know that it turned out to be an abysmal mess. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else really to like grasp here other than like more hater shit. Uh, I mean, yeah, like I said, the CG not good. It's just like very ugly backgrounds. And that was the other thing too. I guess the last thing to touch on too is it's very inconsistent. I understand the idea of doing like different styles for like different spaces and stuff like that, but just like in some settings, like I said, it looked very unfinished, the CG, and then in other settings they'll be like, nah, here's like grime on stuff, but also scene wise just kind of doesn't make any sense. As far as like, the way buildings are and whatnot. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's just all around. It's like I would say it's unfortunate, but like I already don't like this series. So like to me, I'm like I don't give a fuck. I would actually have been
Yeah.
more interested if I saw this and was like maybe a couple months ago when I was at PAX hearing like the Needy Girl Overdose soundtrack blasting in my ear as I walked past a certain booth. Like maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was
It's
wrong about
peak.
all this. Maybe it's actually like insanely good. Because like I've been wrong before. Don't get me wrong. I've been wrong before about different properties. All right. I rolled my eyes at Undertale for a while. Then I played it and I was like,
Mhm.
actually, this is fun. This is swell. This is a neat little game. Need a Girl Overdose, I'm just like not gonna touch because this anime adaptation was so abysmal that I'm like, nah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good shelving that in my head. I think I'm good never engaging with this IP ever again, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
But yeah.
What
Um I guess my
what score
mall
would you give
rating.
it?
Yeah, my I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna rate this like Anthony Fantano, and I'm just gonna say not good. Like
Like,
because yeah, for the uninitiated, the way Fantano gives out not goods is it means it's a non-starter. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
not
yeah.
even like a reason to consider this ever. And from the beginning, you were kind of like, yeah, this shit probably not going to be good. And sure enough, it's not good. Um, if I was to give it a real score, it would literally be like a 0. But like, I feel like it's not even fair because
You're
it
just a
just
fucking
never left the
hater, dude.
gates.
You're just a
It never
fucking
left the gates.
hater, man.
I am a hater. I'm not gonna lie. I am a hater. But I did go into this with an open mind. Um, because again, there's nothing to say that something that I particularly didn't care for game wise or musically couldn't pull out an anime that I was like, damn, okay, that's actually insanely nice. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I'm less of a hater of again like something like Arknights, but I think the anime's cool. Is what it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark, for helping to cover Needy Girl Overdose. I know we unfortunately did need to cover it, so thank you for helping to take the bullet here. This is based off the game of the same name. It's a little bit more of a simulation than it is a visual novel, but it has all the same sort of themes and whatever. Done by, what was it? Yeah, Yostar
Yeah, Yosar Pictures,
Pictures.
and
Yeah,
again, uh,
yeah.
just play Doki Doki Literature Club if you really, really need to do something like this.
Yeah, yeah. It's the anime at least is not something I think you should look forward to. So again, unfortunate, but how it is what it is. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark. And I think with that, we are done with our reviews for this episode. We're going to go on over to our news segment here. There's a lot of mostly corporation stuff, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. So, first off, another kind of mark on this new era of globalization plus digitalization, leading into all sorts of manga, light novel reading platforms being created, and then now they're going to duke each other in the face until inevitably one or two platforms win out. Spoilers, it's going to be Kataka. It's going to be Kataka. But anyways,
Yippee!
um, yeah, the monopoly is going to get us all, and we're going to be happy about it for sure. But former Shueisha editor Shihei Lin. So for those of you who don't know, that's the editor for one of the editors for Chainsaw Man. Announced on Twitter on Friday the launch of his company Mixed Green's new manga platform, which is now accepting manga submissions from artists. So again, they're gonna try to you know stake it out in this world and hope they survive. Again, eh, I just hope that they try to create better models, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be trying to pick like slightly lesser evils, and it's going to be all weird, and then eventually, again, Katako's going to win. So we'll see how it pans out. Next is the Japanese Broadcast Critics Association announced on Monday that the television anime of Yamashita Tomoko's Ikokuniki, Journal with which I also reviewed and I gave high marks on for, the manga won one of the four Galaxy Awards for March. So since 1963, the Galaxy Awards honor outstanding programs, individuals, and groups with the hope of improving the quality of Japanese broadcast culture. So again, the association stated that it selected the anime for its quiet affirmation of mutual respect and coexistence despite the protagonist's opposite personalities and misunderstandings. But yeah, I really like the series as well. I felt it was very organic and definitely a well deserved winner. Previous winners in the last few years of the Galaxy Awards includes the television anime of Osama Ranking of Kings, obviously another good one. Um, the live action television series adaptation of Yoshinaga Fumi's What Did You Eat Yesterday or Kino Nani Tapeta, which I've heard good things about. Stuff like that. Keep Your Hands Off Aizoken. Um, Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan. So definitely all good series as well. Next, uh, on similar sort of contest competition lines, Naver Webtoon and Korean web novel platform Munpia announced on Monday the launch of the 2026 World's Largest Web Novel Contest, offering a total prize pool of 380 million won, or about 258,000 US dollars, as the companies seek to discover and support the next generation of web novel creators.
Wow.
Yeah, again, just but this year's competition introduced a newly established martial arts special award aimed at expanding the genre's presence by recognizing up to 5 works that either preserve traditional elements or reinterpret them with a modern sensibility. The top winners will receive significant opportunities beyond prize money. A grand prize winner and 3 top excellence winners will have their works adapted into webtoons and serialized on Naver Webtoon. Blah 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 blah. But again, oh yeah, promotional support as well by Naver, with additional consideration for adaptations into film, television, or other media as part of broader IP expansion efforts. Again, the one kind of saving grace of this, at least on Naver's part, is that unlike with the Tokyo Metropolitan Police, where they're just, or not police, the government, where they're like every 3 years they're just throwing one award winner, maybe like $10,000, right? 10,000 US dollars. At least this is going on at a scale that's so large that more people are going to kind of I guess get money from it, right? Which is nice, but again, it doesn't solve the issue, which is it's still a pyramid. Still like a pyramid thing at the end of the day, where you have maybe 5 out of every 10,000 webtoon creators that are going to survive, and everybody else is going to get chewed up and spat back out as poor hobos because they can't make it in the industry. So it's a bigger contest. It'll get more people, but I still don't support it very much. It's trying to support artists with contests only. Feeding feeding the entire industry with like contests is just not something that sits right with me. Next we have the company Visual Arts. For those of you who don't know, it's like Key Studios, Clownod, whatever, all that stuff. Rewrite. Announced on Tuesday its new visual novel brand, Visual Arts Scripts, and also announced the new brand's first game titled Sayagatari, Promise of the Cursed Blade, slated for release this year. I think probably Scripts, from my perspective, it says Visual Arts describes the new brand as a visual novel brand that enables quote unquote emotional experiences that change the everyday world. So literally it means nothing. But from what I'm seeing is I think Visual Arts Scripts is collecting a bunch of other writers, like script writers and directors and artists from a bunch of other game and visual novel places, and just trying to put them under one kind of general IP company, right? Holding company, where they can just pump out VNs from there instead of growing a sort of what I would say a core visual arts and Key Studios team. Because with them they had their kind of general series sequence of visual novels and their own kind of style, right? But from what I'm seeing here with visual arts scripts, they have pretty different styles, all of them. So I think they're just trying to create a bunch of different teams, or not even trying to create, but just trying to hire a bunch of different teams, right? So I think it's more of an acquisition kind of aspect than anything else, but we'll see how it goes. I do want to read Saigatari though, because I'm a sucker for these sorts of premises, but we'll see. But it looks a little bit more like a sprite series, a little bit more like um, what is it? Who did my Shiro Iro Symphony? It was Sprite, right? It wasn't Sprite. What am I saying? Fuck. It was Palette. Yeah. Okay. It looks more like a Palette visual novel than it does a Key visual novel. But what do I
Right.
know? Yeah. Next, on similar stuff, Toei Entertainment Studio also launches a game brand. Toei announced on Tuesday that it has established its own game brand, Toei Games. Toei revealed the new brand's logo along with a pixel animation of Toei's trademark Wild Waves and Rocks opening sequence, as created by game developer Kaidosoft. So, the new brand will first venture into the PC game market by launching titles on Steam, and then plans to expand to game console platforms such as Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Toei Games will announce its initial lineup of titles on Friday. The brand aims to create entirely new intellectual property (IP) and will not create games based on or adapted from Toei's existing IPs.
Lie.
As
That's
such, its
definitely a
initial
lie.
Yes, it's gonna be really funny. It's gonna be like you'll have a beat 'em up like Metal Slug or something like that, and in the
Yeah.
middle you'll just have like Godzilla floating around in the background, and you're like,
Yeah.
"What the what?" Or the last boss will just be like, "It's really not Godzilla, but."
Yeah.
uh, yeah, as such, its initial lineup features brand new game properties by creators from Japan and abroad, featuring definitely not Mechagodzilla.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I definitely think they're not going to be able to resist the urge to just milk their stuff. um, Next, Katakawa establishes Katakawa Retail Ventures Company for North America retail business. So Katakawa announced on Monday that it has blah blah. What is this? So by retail it means stuff like bookstores and so on, right? And it's taking over management of stuff. Um, and talk collectibles. Does Kataka own Animate? I forget who owns Animate, but they'll probably do some sort of collab with the Animate stores as well. So
Yeah.
on the webtoon front for Korea, Daejeon Metropolitan City, one of the major cities in Korea, has cleared a key administrative hurdle and is planned to build a large-scale webtoon industry hub. After its Webtoon IP Advanced Cluster project passed the central government investment review with conditions. Um, yeah, it's trying to just build a bunch of studio like housing. I'm thinking it's like yeah, the project backed by a total budget of about 27 million US dollars will develop a 4,900 square meter complex featuring office space for webtoon companies and creators, as well as facilities for content production, technology support, education, and meetings. The cluster is designed as a convergence hub that integrates creative work with advanced technology. The issue is it's like
The animator camps. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. The the initiative will establish a full cycle support system spanning talent development, content creation, startup incubation, IP expansion, while strengthening collaboration between industry, academia, and research institutions. The issue is twofold. One, oh yeah, by the way, so part of this is Daejeon has also had like a history of doing this. They also have like this like weird esports arena that I don't think people will really use anyways. But either way, Daejeon in Korea is kind of known as this like hipster city, right? It's slightly like Cincinnati or like Columbus, Ohio, where it's like it's a city, sure, but it's not like people still consider as like somewhere out in the boonies, right? At the end of the day, because it's in Ohio or whatever. In a similar sense, Daejeon, despite being a big city, is still considered in the boonies, right? Because
Yeah.
ultimately, whether you're in the boonies or not is very much in proximity to where you are with relation to Seoul. Uh, Much like how in Japan, a lot of it's dependent on where you are with regards to Osaka or Tokyo, or in the United States, it's a lot of it's dependent on how close you are with regards to say somewhere like Austin, Texas, or New York City, or LA, or whatever, right? Um, and that's so it's never really it's gonna be very difficult for Daejeon to get pull and get pull over companies magically to where they are because a lot of these companies are just like, yeah, we're in Seoul, so thanks but no thanks kind of thing, right? And secondly, all of these monies are ultimately just gonna all go to companies and they're gonna be setting up there and then they're gonna be trying to suck in animators or whatever, right? The issue is the animators are still gonna be like the animators still need to be i- the government should be focused on supporting the animators, right? Just not sloshing around companies to random cities. And also the animators themselves will also not want to move to Daejeon that much because they also want to stay near Seoul where there are more opportunities, right now. So it's a very weird situation where if they don't get lucky and have a bunch of studios magically move there, it's just not going to work out. So
Yeah.
I'm I just don't think it's going to work. Again, I think it's a very akin to like I don't know, some being like, "Hey, by the way, we built a hub in Huntsville, Alabama, or somewhere in the fucking bumfuck nowhere where it's like, yes, it's a city that exists and it has some stuff, but nobody's gonna fucking move to Alabama just to start their new life as a musician or animator or whatever, just because the government's paying for it. No, that's not how that works. So I, I don't think it's gonna work out personally, but we'll see. And then on other great webtoon news, Webtoon, Webtoon Entertainment, again, the snaver here, announced on Monday a strategic partnership with Genies to introduce interactive, character-driven digital experiences, marking a new step in the evolution of webcomic storytelling. So you guys might be super excited. Wow, this all sounds great. Uh, Through the collaboration, Webtoon creators will be able to transform their characters into interactive 3D avatars using AI tools integrated into the platform's English language service.
So cool.
The
So cool and
initiative
awesome.
allows fans to go beyond traditional reading by chatting with characters, exploring additional story elements, and collecting digital items tied to their favorite series.
Yeah.
Powered by Genie's AI-driven avatar technology, the project aims to extend storytelling beyond static panels like boring into interactive environments. Users will be able to unlock exclusive content such as expanded backstories and hidden lore. Wait, why did they say unlock? This sounds really bad. Okay.
Or because you have to pay for it.
Like it almost sounds like you have to pay for different tiers of AI, and the
Probably. It's
higher AI
probably
you
like pay
pay,
per like X amount of
yeah. Well, what'll be funny is like if you pay for basic AI, the hero will be like, I wield a sword, and like that's all they'll say. But then like if you pay for higher AI, it's like, my mother was killed in the last dragon riots of 1888, and you're like, what the what's this all about? I feel like that's how it's gonna go, right? Because that's
probably.
what usually unlock exclusive content is, and so. Exclusive content such as expanded backstories and hidden lore through ongoing engagement with each series, creating a more immersive fan experience. The partnership also introduces digital collectibles. Oh, is it coins? Is it fucking coins? Is it NFTs?
I
Oh
hope
my
so.
god, please don't say it. Creating a more designed to deepen user interaction and open potential monetization opportunities for creators. Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. As readers progress through a story, they can access new items and character data. I don't want Chivos for reading a webcomic, man. I don't want Chivos for read. I just want to read a good webcomic. I don't want a fucking Xbox Chivos, brother. Nobody is sitting there reading. Nobody except like Fortnite nerds are sitting there reading a chapter of a book. You know, they go to the library or they skim through, novels. They look at Hemingway and they're like, ah, this doesn't have guns or Chivos. Like, what the fuck? Like, no, what is wrong with you guys? Just support fucking creators and let them write good stuff. What is this with this NFT coin plus AI avatar shit? Like, this is some Metopia or whatever the fuck that's called. Um, Designed to deepen. Oh my god. Okay. As readers progress through a story, they can access new items and character interactions, effectively expanding the narrative universe. Just fucking kill me now. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words. It's-
Because of how awesome it is, yeah. I get it.
I'm just waiting for that narrative universe to expand here. I don't think it'll be awesome. Oh my god. And the last piece of news here is um there's a sort of a new South Korea is about to implement a new quote-unquote emergency blocking system for illegal websites on May 11th. The system, introduced under a revised copyright law by the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism, will allow authorities to block infringing sites immediately upon detection without lengthy review procedures, which doesn't sound like a very good idea, but due to this, one of South Korea's largest illegal webtoon distribution sites, Newtoki, has abruptly shut down its services just weeks before the government rolls out the system and tries to catch the people or whatever. So, we'll, obviously both Japan and Korea are cracking down on this. I think Japan is obviously also making more headways into at least U.S. courts, like catching people via like suing them or trying to duke it out on U.S. courts, as we've seen in past news over the past years. So we'll see how this goes. But again, it's very much like a trying to cut the head off a hydra. There'll always be more of these sorts of sites, and instead of doing this, maybe if you guys had better service, maybe if Katakawa didn't have a model, wasn't trying to push out a model that's like, wow, you have to pay $50 to read this climax chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. Maybe it would be better? Question mark.
Nah,
But what do
I
I
think
know?
they should do more gotcha chapters.
Loot box. I think we had a discussion about this before, right? Where it's
Oh
like
yeah.
you
A
you
loot
do loot
box,
boxes, yeah, you
fucking
do loot boxes,
random
but then
chapters.
you get duplicate chapters. Yeah, you get duplicate chapters
Yeah,
as
you
well.
get dupes. Yeah, if you get 4 dupes, you can make you can pick a chapter. You get 4 dupes.
Yeah, no, but you have to spark with those. You have to collect like 100 of them at least. Like yeah.
Yeah, you gotta collect
Oh my
100 of them.
God.
Then you can spark a page, but it also has to be adjacent to a page you already own.
Yeah, exactly. And also not only that, but if you can if you get some instead of scrapping them for material, you get extra levels or extra gems or whatever on like limit bursts on each chapter. And if you max out the limit burst on the chapter, you can start talking to the AI avatar relevant to relevant to the story of that chapter. This is the future we're living in. You just gotta accept it, I think. Oh my God. But yeah, we'll see how these further anti-piracy measures pan out. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the news, and we're going to move on to our shoutouts and callouts here. Everybody here gets one shoutout and callout. Shoutout is something that you want to praise the skies, you want to get 5 out of 5, and it could be any one person, place, or thing. And of course, a call out is something that you want to rage about, 0 out of 5, stomp on, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. And we start now with Near.
Shit, man. Shoutouts to the Resident Evil movie. Got a trailer. Looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, kind of hyped for that. As for callouts, I don't know. What's even happened recently? It's worth calling out.
The
Oh,
society
nothing.
stuff.
I'm gonna call out to VTubers that
VTuber,
that draw
it's
VTubers that
VTubers
draw
that draw
CP and then
content
get
content that
arrested.
may not be legal in their own jurisdictions.
And then blame the government for that. I'm gonna call that out.
Well, to be
If you
fair, it
do
is the
that,
government's fault.
I mean, it's not really.
Who
It's
makes the
it's kind of
laws,
your fault.
buddy? Who
It's kind of
makes the
your fault for
laws?
doing it. But yeah, maybe don't. Look, man. I just think
Bro,
I've
you
said it
don't get it,
before.
okay? If you're listen, if you're a lolly baiting VTuber, you can just not stream and still get money
Yeah.
apparently. So
Yeah. But I've said it before. If you're a lolicon, like, I don't have any like. I do not wish ill upon you, unless you like start advertising that shit. As soon as that shit starts to become like
You gotta
public,
keep it under wraps. You gotta
yeah.
keep
As
it
soon as
under
that
wraps.
shit starts to be like part of your identity,
Yeah, you're getting
uh,
away. You're like escaping
yeah,
the
I
yeah,
mean
like,
with this person in general too, it's also like you see that shit, and you're like, wow, you were really you
yeah,
were really
you're
testing
really
it.
you're really into
You
that
were-
shit, huh? All right.
Oh, and you were, and
you're
it's
testing
also
the
like you
water.
were,
You're testing the
yeah,
water.
you were really like just either unaware somehow of your own local laws, or you really thought that you did not give a fuck. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do that. That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nier. What about you, Dark?
Yeah, I think I'll shout out the I'll shout out the Promia trailer for Zenless, because even though I have zero plans on rolling that character, her gameplay trailer, I call it a gameplay trailer. Her character trailer was really well animated. It was really, really good. I would recommend people check it out, like even if you don't give a shit about the game. It's just very, very impressive. And also very funny to see that coming out like in the same week, the like discussions of people being like, Neverness to Everness really has more soul than Zenless, and it's like
True. It's true.
yeah, that's not true. Impact frames, in fact, don't make animation better.
What?
Just throwing them around, yeah. Lo and behold, but yeah, so I'll shout out that, and I think my call out in a similar vein is I'm gonna call a lot of the people that are already like freaking out about Zenless's third season for the wrong reasons, I'll say. Because I do think there is something to a lot of the character designs being like pretty middling at best, for some of them that we've seen. But I've been seeing people talking about how like, Zenless isn't a urban fantasy no more, simply because it's like we're not getting the same variant of like street aesthetic, when it's like the next zone is, I don't even know, like, what would you describe it as, nearly? Because I find it hard to describe. I just find it similar to like, I don't know, like Penacony from Honkai Star Rail,
It's like
which is almost like
it's
a
almost like a
weird,
sci-fi, like French Nouveau, like Art Deco kind of
yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, so it's like it's very like it is still very like urban fantasy. It is
Yeah.
it has both urban elements and fantasy elements. It's just not like streetwear. Um so yeah, I don't know. I think you can critique like a lot of the character designs coming up, but I think as far as like being like the new zone doesn't look good or isn't urban fantasy, I think is insane. Um So yeah, I don't know. I think people need to chill the fuck out on that, because it's kind of crazy to me.
Mm. Okay. Uh, Thank you very much, Dark. And for myself, my shoutouts calls are pretty simple. Shoutouts to, I guess, the various amenities in Korea, despite all of the videos out there saying that Korea is dead, Korea is dying, Korea is gonna be dying
It's
in
gone,
10 years,
actually.
2 years, 1 month. It's done. It's under the sea.
I will say,
There are a lot of
I
stuff that
obviously like there are issues with South Korea, but I do think that like
yeah.
anyone who is saying that, or anyone who is like really hyper focusing on like, oh my god, there's all these like massive issues that South Korea's collapse, like I feel like, them like sentencing the former president to like death or whatever for trying to do a coup kind of reinstilled a lot of people's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, maybe shit just won't just like fall apart without people doing anything about it there, unlike
Well, I
certain
also
other
think it's
nations.
like It's okay to have like I think the quota should be max two. The quota of videos that have the title of some variant of Korea is dead or whatever. I think the max quota should be two. Any more than like two videos just to fill the algorithm. We don't need 50 videos that are like Korea is literally dying. Every idol is killing themselves. It's just all filled with 50-year-olds because nobody's getting babies. Like we don't need 10 of those videos. Okay. I think two is a good quota. Two documentaries.
Everyone's
Okay.
got the Samsung brain chip.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's eating the
exactly.
sugar
The chaebols are
toast.
killing everybody. The chaebols are all feeding people into the grinder. Like, okay, we can have two videos on that. I'm okay up to that point.
Yeah,
But
it feels very China is collapsing tomorrow type video
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
this
Having like
point where
50
it's
of
like,
those videos. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Or like the Japanese or videos about Japan's host culture or whatever, where it's like, did you know it's literally everybody in Japan is cheating, even the children are cheating. It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Hey man, it's like you go into a host club and there's people always in there. So obviously that means that 100% of people are going to host clubs in Japan. Everyone knows
yeah,
this.
exactly. But yeah, I've been enjoying obviously my time in Japan. Obviously, if it was a worse situation for me economically, it would be different. But right now, I'm enjoying some of the stuff over here. In terms of call out, um, calling out side games Uma Musume, division, department, whatever, especially the ones that are handling global because they are setting up a schedule that is very, very, very hard to follow, even if you're grinding hard, because they are contracting the schedule to such an extent that you're just having like back-to-back PvP events essentially in a matter of like 2 weeks, which is impossible to grind up to, pretty much, unless you're s- playing a whale and B playing Uma Musume every freaking day. So you gotta put a break on things, okay, guys, just don't do that. So that's my call out. But with that, I think we are finally done with this episode of For the Animecast. Again, thank you to all the viewers and listeners out there. Again, very unfortunate that Toast couldn't attend, but I'm sure he'll be, he is, sick this time, but I'm sure he'll be, hopefully he will be, good the next time around. We have, I think, 3 more episodes after this, so we'll be trying to cover what we can, some good, some bad. If you do like what we do, we stream our podcast every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on twitch.tv/4PlayAnimecast with a number 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So you can check out our VODs here, our various sections and clips, highlights and clips over on YouTube as well, whichever format you desire. We have our updates and news on our social media postings, such as on Facebook for Play Animecast, on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast, and on Blue Sky for Play Animecast. So you can check us out here, you can check us out there, and as always, we'll see you next time.